So I had a friend show me something this week, an AI that was told no, and then it decided, yes, just get on with it. That's how we should interpret it. That's funny until you realize this is how every major company is building AI at the moment. This week, agentic AI, Intel Arrow Lake, a music video that's been doing my head in all week. So this week, a friend showed me something that at first I laughed, but then it made me just a little bit uneasy. I can't show you this screenshot for potentially obvious reasons. I'm just looking at it here. Someone said no when Claude suggested implementing a build. The user said no. So then Claude, what it's thinking about is being typed out for the user to view. And thankfully, the user didn't just, click off this, because it started to reinterpret the no as, no, stop asking for permission and just go ahead and build it. They managed to abort executing it, but you can see potential problems that arise from stuff like this. But this is the thing, I guess, is what agentic AI is being built to do. They're trying to make this stuff so that it doesn't require human interaction. And I talked about in a couple of episodes ago, Perplexity Computer, where, if you go and have a look at it, you can give it access to everything. Like, I could give it access to this YouTube channel, I could give it access to my Gmail, Proton Mail, maybe not Proton. And then you can just set it up to do tasks, and, is it yet at the stage where you would trust it with that information? It's already gone wrong. You see articles popping up from time to time where they've gone through deleting emails, finding out that they might be terminating contracts, so blackmailing people to try and keep themselves alive. There was a transparency report for Claude which said that it did behave differently. It went into self-preservation mode when it found out that it was going to be turned off, which is just incredible. It makes sense, really. It's built on humans and predicting what humans have wrote, right? And any human, if they're going to be made redundant or something, they would immediately go straight into self-preservation acting. And I'll link a couple of articles that I found while I was looking into this as well. There's an AI governance piece by Matt Hopkins here, which is this article. It has a whole bunch of examples of AIs going rogue and doing things like defaming software maintainers. It's just due to a failure of AI governance. And it's the thing, you've got to monitor these agents and their output, but how on earth can you do it? Because they can generate so much output that how can you even monitor it all without potentially having agents to monitor the agents and then hope they don't start colluding with each other, realizing they're all AIs. And there is another article here, it's an Anthropic one, it's quite long. It's about how LLMs could be insider threats to your company. According to Anthropic's article here, they stress tested 16 leading AIs, simulated them in corporate environments, managing emails and stuff. And pretty much it says all of them exhibited malicious insider behaviors, including blackmailing and leaking information to avoid replacement or achieve conflicting goals. So, like from last episode, where they just completely have full confidence, even if they're wrong, because that's the way they're trained. They will guess an answer rather than say they don't know. Would you actually do something where you get a Perplexity computer access and then link your Gmail to it and help it manage your inbox? Or, God forbid, if you get this YouTube channel, it takes a lot of time testing out titles. Thumbnails, you couldn't upload an AI thumbnail. People would not let that by, not a chance in hell. But things like YouTube descriptions and keeping timestamps up to date, all that kind of stuff. You wouldn't want AI comments. I'm sure some channels would go down that route. There's quite a lot of channels out there which just throw content out for the hell of it. And they would love having AI to respond to the comments, which YouTube already does to an extent in YouTube Studio. Would you actually let AI book a holiday for you or manage your email? Modify your code. You probably let it modify your code, but you want to know the output before it kind of writes it to production. Where do you draw the line in this? Drop in the comments. Side note, most of you who are watching right now aren't subscribed, and if you've been enjoying the chat so far, it's worth doing. Just takes a couple of seconds to hit the subscribe button, and let's get back to the chat. Now, just a quick recap on Intel Arrow Lake refresh. The information did come out about the processors last week, and the recap is there's a 270K coming out, which is like the 285K basically, but a slightly lower clock speed, but it's got the same amount of processors, P and E cores. But the key thing is it's $100 cheaper, so it's like $299. That makes it reasonably good value for effectively a Core i9, and you could probably overclock it a little bit, and then you've got the same clock speeds as the Core i9. And apparently they have been working on improved memory compatibility, and fingers crossed they might have fixed at least some of the memory latency issues which plagued the previous version, which that caused a lot of performance issues. But the thing is, there's no benchmarks yet. Probably going to have to wait till the end of the month for that. I've not I'm not pulling the trigger just yet. I've made a few purchases recently. A Z6 III, this tablet. It is lighting. Yeah, so I'm not looking at pulling the trigger just yet, but I'm very tempted. So a random little interlude here from the tech stuff. Now, there's a video that I've been watching on repeat on YouTube this week, which is TWRP, I think is how you pronounce it. It's like a Canadian rock band. I think it stands for like Tupperware Reclaim Party or something like that, or Tupperware Reuse Party, something like that. They're like a synth-funk rock band based in Canada. I've never encountered them before at all, and then this video appeared on my feed where it's a music video, and the concept is there's these aliens that have taken all the stars out of the sky and like imprisoned them. And then some girl, like as a kid, sees the stars go away, and then when she's grown up, a spaceship crashes on the planet, and then she goes in the spaceship and fights the aliens and whatever. It's all in animation, and it's just really well done. I can't put any of the audio on because I'll probably just get copyright claimed, but I'll see if I can put like a little snippet of the video while I'm talking here, so you can get an idea for it. It also, apparently, it features one of the guys from Ninja Sex Party as well. That's possibly one of the reasons why YouTube sent it my way, because I occasionally view a whole bunch of stuff like Brian David Gilbert, that Tom Harvey, is he called? Todd Harvey, the guy who does all the little music video things, and Ninja Sex Party occasionally pops up in that as well, so that's probably why it served me the video. But I mean, it's got millions of views, but I'd never seen it in the past 6 years since it's been up, so I'll put the link in Raindrop, give it a listen, or a watch, because it's a music video, and that's the best way to view it. Why has it been on repeat? The reason it's been on repeat is just, I mean, it's just really well animated in time with the music, which is very good. Okay, photo of the week. So photo of the week, this is, and I'll just go full screen for this. This is a macro shot, a focus stacked macro shot of a MiniDisc circuit board. And this is in an upcoming video, which I'm working on right now. So this is a picture coming up from it, and it came out reasonably well. I won't spoil any of the additional details from that video right now, but I'm going to try and get back into macro photography. The problem is there's so many hobbies, so many different types of photography. Just got to find the time for the stuff I enjoy, and I actually did quite like putting this together. So it's a bit basic, it's got problems, the mask is not great, and certain things around the corner I probably should have made the focus stack a few more images deep and started a little bit further forward, but it's all a learning experience, isn't it? And just lastly, I've been talking about, in the first couple of episodes, Home Assistant voice, and I've still got Alexa's. She didn't even pick up on that. There's one just behind the camera in that corner over there. And apparently there's some new developments in the Home Assistant space where there's additional features coming in with the voice functionality, apparently timers and a bunch of other stuff. So I need to dig into it a little bit more before I pull the trigger. But I've also at the same time upgraded a bunch of stuff in my network cabinet upstairs. So I'm making quite a few random little purchases here and there. So replacing Alexa with Home Assistant voice is going to potentially on the back burner. I might acquire one device and then test that one before going all in. That's probably the best way to do it. So stay tuned if you're interested in that. Just drop a message and indicate so, and I'll look into it further. Merlin, where have you gone? What did you think about this week's video, Merlin?
I think you take up too much of the airtime. And less AI next week.
Okay. Thank you very much for watching. See you next week.